In 2003, one of the most beloved brands on earth was dying. The Lego Group was losing nearly $1 million every single day. Consultants advised the company to pivot, to abandon the plastic brick that had defined it for generations. They said the world had moved on, that video games had won. To the outside world, Lego was a timeless icon. But inside the headquarters in Billund, Denmark, they were preparing for the end. They were just months away from total financial collapse. Less than a decade later, that same company was named the most powerful brand in the world. It had become more profitable than Apple. Lego didn't just survive. It became a titan of the toy industry, experiencing a period of growth that was almost unprecedented. They didn't abandon the brick. They embraced it more deeply than ever before. This wasn't just a lucky break. It was the result of a radical strategic shift. A decision to tear up the corporate playbook and listen to the one group of people they had ignored for decades, their own fans. So how did Lego transform its most passionate customers into a multi-million-dollar research and development department? How did a simple, open invitation save the company from bankruptcy and change the way we think about innovation forever? That's the question we're answering today. To understand Lego's incredible comeback, we first need to understand how close they came to failure. By the late 1990s and early 2000s, Lego was a company that had lost its way. The leadership believed the simple Lego brick was no longer enough to compete in a world of PlayStation and the internet. Their solution was diversification. But this diversification was unfocused, and it nearly proved fatal. They launched a line of action figures called Galador, which had very little to do with traditional Lego construction. It was a massive commercial failure. They created software and video games that failed to gain traction. They opened theme parks around the world, a capital-intensive business that drained resources from their core product. The innovation process was broken. Designers were creating increasingly complex and specialized bricks for specific sets. This destroyed the magic of the universal Lego system. In 1997, there were about 6,000 unique Lego elements. By 2004, that number had more than doubled to over 14,000. This complexity created a logistical nightmare. It drove up manufacturing and storage costs exponentially. The company was making more products than ever, but they were less profitable and less popular. The numbers tell a brutal story. In 2003, Lego posted a record-breaking loss of over $220 million. Debt had spiraled to over $800 million. The company that had defined childhood for millions was running out of cash and running out of time. In 2004, with the company on the verge of being sold off, the board made a historic decision. For the first time ever, they appointed an outsider to run the company. His name was Jørgen Vig Knudstorp. Knudstorp was a 35-year-old former McKinsey consultant with no experience in the toy industry. What he did have was a clear, objective view of the crisis. He saw that Lego's attempts to be everything to everyone were destroying the one thing that made them special. His first moves were swift and painful. He sold a majority stake in the Legoland theme parks to Merlin Entertainments, raising crucial cash. He simplified the bloated supply chain. Most importantly, he initiated a philosophy that would define the turnaround, back to the brick. Knudstorp's team performed a deep analysis of their product portfolio. They discovered that in 2004, 90% of the company's revenue came from just 30% of its products. The rest were unprofitable distractions. They made a ruthless decision. They slashed the number of unique Lego elements by nearly half, returning to the core components that made the Lego system so brilliant. They cut unpopular product lines and refocused their design efforts on the foundational play experiences: building, creativity, and imagination. This disciplined approach stopped the bleeding. It stabilized the company financially. But cost-cutting and simplification can only take you so far. To truly grow again, Lego needed a new engine for innovation. And they found it in the most unlikely of places. While the company was struggling to innovate internally, something remarkable was happening online. A global community of adult fans of Lego, or AFOLs, was flourishing. On websites like Lugnet and Brickshelf, these fans were showcasing breathtakingly complex and creative models that far surpassed anything Lego was producing at the time. They weren't just following instructions, they were pushing the limits of the medium, treating Lego bricks like an art form. For years, the company had kept this community at arm's length. The corporate mindset was that professional designers in Billund knew best. But the new leadership saw this community differently. They didn't see them as just customers. They saw them as a massive, untapped resource of creative genius. The first major experiment in collaboration was with the LEGO Mindstorm's robotics platform. For the second generation, NXD, LEGO did something revolutionary. They handpicked a small group of elite fans and invited them into the development process. These fans helped design, test, and refine the product. The result was a smash hit. The Mindstorm's NXD was a critical and commercial success, embraced by the very community that helped create it. This experiment proved a powerful thesis. Their most dedicated fans weren't just consumers, they were potential co-creators. The challenge, however, was scale. How could they harness the creativity of thousands of fans around the world, not just a select few? The answer would come from a small Japanese startup. In 2008, LEGO partnered with a Japanese company called Kusu, which had developed a crowdsourcing platform. Together, they launched a pilot program called LEGO Kusu. The concept was simple, but brilliant. Any fan could submit an idea for a new LEGO set to the website. If a project could gather 10,000 votes from the community, it would earn an official review from the LEGO Group. If the company decided to produce the set, the original fan designer would receive a 1% royalty on the net sales. Suddenly, there was a formal, structured path for any fan, anywhere in the world, to become a LEGO designer. One of the first projects to reach the 10,000 vote threshold was a set based on the video game Minecraft. At the time, LEGO's own market research suggested a Minecraft set wouldn't be successful. The company was hesitant. But they couldn't ignore the 10,000 fans who had explicitly said, "We will buy this." They trusted their community. The LEGO Minecraft set became one of the most successful product launches in the company's history. It proved the model worked. The platform, later renamed LEGO Ideas, was rolled out globally. It has since produced dozens of beloved and commercially successful sets. The DeLorean from Back to the Future, the Ghostbusters Ecto-1, the NASA Apollo Saturn V rocket, the International Space Station, Women of NASA. All of these began as fan submissions. LEGO had successfully built a system to institutionalize genius. And that's the secret. That is the core of LEGO's turnaround strategy. The crisis of 2003 forced LEGO to abandon its corporate arrogance. They were forced to be humble. And in that humility, they discovered that their greatest asset wasn't in their design labs. It was scattered across bedrooms, basements, and internet forums all over the world. Their open innovation strategy wasn't just about getting free ideas. It was about fundamentally changing their business model. LEGO Ideas is a perfect engine for de-risking innovation. Every project that reaches 10,000 votes doesn't just represent a good idea, it represents a guaranteed market. It comes with a built-in focus group of 10,000 passionate customers who have already raised their hands to buy the product and act as its first evangelists. LEGO effectively outsourced its most expensive and unpredictable business functions, market research and product development, to a global community that works for the pure passion of creation. In return, they gave their fans a voice, a platform, and a chance to be part of the brand they love. They stopped seeing their customers as people to sell to, and started seeing them as people to build with. They didn't just sell plastic bricks, they created a platform for co-creation, turning consumption into a creative partnership. The story of LEGO's survival is more than just a great corporate comeback story. It is a masterclass in the power of the crowd. It demonstrates a fundamental principle of modern business. Your community is your most valuable asset. In an interconnected world, the line between a company and its customers is becoming increasingly blurred. The smartest companies are not those with the best internal ideas, but those that build the best systems for harnessing ideas from the outside. Lego proved that by trusting its fans, by giving them ownership and a real stake in the creative process, it could build a more resilient, more innovative, and ultimately, a more profitable company. They didn't just save themselves from bankruptcy. They built a fortress of creativity, brick by brick, with the help of millions. If you learned something new, hit the like button and subscribe for more strategy breakdowns. And let us know in the comments, what company's strategy should we unlock next?